What's up, guys? This is Chris, Bonafide Hustler, coming to you live from my front yard today. I promised you guys a bike video, but this past weekend has been really good, and I found a really good remote control lot that I want to discuss with you guys. And it's kind of like a pick, kind of like the vintage pick, except it deals with remote control cars, vintage ones. This week's been really good with things that I've sold from previous videos. Some of those shoes, in fact, a lot of those shoes, have sold already and given us handsome profits on my outdoor pick that you saw in one of the videos. But we found some other stuff this week, and these are just some of the things that we found. And then at the tail end of the video, I want to show you this vintage remote control lot that I bought for about 130 bucks that I plan to risk like $30 on and make 300 to 500 bucks on. So let's kind of cut right to the chase. Let's see some of the stuff that I found this past weekend. You know, I love kind of like the whole baby and kid thing because there's a whole lot of money into it. And people that deal with baby and kid stuff, they really like brands a whole lot. So when you're dealing with like push strollers or jogging strollers, you're going to want to find like Bob strollers. When you're dealing with these little pedal cars and this and that, you always want to look for this brand, Kettler. I love this brand, and it's a really cool thing, and every kid wants one. If the kid doesn't want a Power Wheels, they're going to want a Kettler trike. And this is a Kettler, not a trike, Kettler pedal bike Extreme. It has a little switch here, so you can go into pedal mode or to like push mode. It has a handbrake. It's really cool, and it has a steering wheel that's connected to like a rack and pinion type of steering. This thing's awesome. Got it for like 25 bucks, and I plan to sell it for around 80 to 100 bucks, probably locally. Okay, let's talk about something else. Right here, I got an old case at a garage sale. This was like $1. Actually, no, this was like $2. And the case is not so important as what's on the case. And then what's on the case are these really old stickers that are hard to find present day. So take a look at these things. And this is what I'm seeing as the money maker of this one. Camel Pro Series. That has to deal with cigarettes. And with all the litigation on cigarettes, that's a big deal to have a sticker like that in pretty good condition. Houston Rockets, really cool old school looking stuff. Oilers, Cowboys, and then more stickers like that. The Exxon Travel Club, another Camel one. Proud to call Austin home, the city I live in. Rules. So this right here is probably gonna sell at my antique mall for like maybe 30 bucks or so. But hey, I spent like $2 on it, so total win, right? This right here we found in a shed at a garage sale. It's a vintage tab. I believe these are 32 fluid ounces of just clear bottles. But people love this stuff for their house, for projects, and we spent about $1 on this thing, and it's going to yield about 30 to like 50 bucks at the antique mall at our booth. So big profits here. All right, so those are only 3 things because I really want to get to this RC lot. Now the remote control lot that I'm about to show you, I found at a pawn shop actually, and there was just a bunch of cars laying around on the top of this one shelf. And I'd noticed on repeat visits to this pawn shop in particular, that those cars had kind of just sat there, and no one had bought them, and the price tags on the cars were really high. So I kind of assumed that there's just no way anyone was going to buy these things in the first place for what they were asking for. But I knew the guy kind of well, and I asked him about maybe just purchasing the entire lot, and I thought he was going to say like 300 to like 500 bucks, but he gave me a great deal on this entire lot. It was 130 bucks. And I'm going to make a killing on this lot. So I'm going to risk about 30 bucks of that 130, and I've already come far beyond where I want to come on this lot. It's going to be a really good profit. So let's take a look at what I'm looking at when I talk about vintage remote control stuff. Okay? This right here is one of the cars. There were actually, I think, about 7 cars in this pick. There were 4 F1 cars. There was one Kyosho buggy. There was a Kyosho motorcycle, which I have already all packed up right now. And then there's an on-road co-rally car. So let's talk about what this right here. This is a Tamiya F1 electric car, an F1 car. It's all-wheel drive. It's got most electronics there. These are very hard to come by now, and people would pay top dollar for something like this. So even though I spent $130 on that pick, this car alone is probably worth like anywhere between $100 and $200. Just this car. Now I got some other ones which are a little bit older looking. Now this is what's called a remote control roller. That means there's nothing in it. It's just the shell of the car, and it needs all the stuff to start working. So when you see something like that, you refer to it as a roller. When you sell it, you call it a roller. Okay, it's just a rolling body. It needs everything, electronics, motor, everything. But this is a really cool roller. It's got carbon fiber pieces. The market value on this, since it's kind of older looking, it's got some of the older, you know, stickers and this and that. It even has a camel sticker, like cigarettes. So when you see stuff like this, it should ring a bell, you know. Before all the cigarette regulation, which was around the 90s, you know, you could still advertise on race cars. And so here's a cool sticker on a race car. You can advertise on it. This right here probably worth anywhere between 100, 150 bucks. Onto another one. Another F1 car. This is more like a 2005 Tamiya kit. It's an F201. It's really cool. It's two-wheel drive, and it's just a roller also. As you can see, there's pretty much nothing in there. It's just a rolling chassis. But it's the fact that it's, you know, fully built and it's ready to go. All you gotta do is just drop in electronics and some other stuff. This car right here is probably worth between 100 and 200 bucks, just this car alone. People pay top dollar for this Tamiya F1 stuff, and it's really hard to find on eBay. So when you have one, it's kind of like you're touching gold. And that was one of the things, like when this guy said 130 bucks for the entire pick, I mean, I kind of just blew up inside, but I didn't show that I was really excited, because I don't do that. Okay, so let's talk about here. This right here is a Kyosho buggy. And you know it's really, really, really old school because the drivetrain has this like chain-driven thing. You can see it's an all-wheel drive with a chain-driven drivetrain. Look at the front suspension; it's pretty cool. You know, so this right here, I already knew just by looking at it. Top dollar, really good condition, but it is a roller as well. It needs all the stuff and even needs a body. But since it's vintage and it's Kyosho, it's not a Tamiya. It's a Kyosho vintage buggy. This has got a market value of somewhere between 50 and 150 bucks alone. Just this one right here. All right. Right here is an on-road. They call them just rally cars, but that's what that looks like. I'm not going to go any further into there, but you can kind of see what that looks like. That right there, an amazing car, and you can just tell by the shell of this thing, it's totally vintage, you know. That needs a lot of work, but it has a lot of stuff. It's got a motor, it's got drivetrain, it's ready. Oh, it's very close to being ready to actually run on a track. I don't know if I consider that a roller because it's about 3/4 of the way done. But regardless, it just was part of the pick and kind of got just thrown in, and so I'm gonna make a ton of money just on that one alone. There was one other thing that was in the pick. It was a Kyosho motorcycle, which I've already packaged up, and that is going to yield a lot of money. In fact, I got some significant interest locally on that thing already, so that's the only reason I couldn't show it. But anything that's vintage, Kyosho, Tamiya, you touch that stuff and it looks like really good quality, it's going to be gold. So you touch it, it's going to turn into gold. I told you guys that there was 4 F1 cars in the pick, or 4, but I showed you 3 of them. It's because one of them, some guy locally offered me a trade for it, okay? And what he was trading was absolutely unbelievable and was worth about maybe $300. So of course I said yes to the trade. But let me show you what was in the trade. So I had to trade him one of those F1 cars, which is already gone, for what I'm about to show you now, okay? And that's this thing right here. This thing right here is an Offna Hyper 8. It's beautiful. These are competition buggies. This is called an 8-scale buggy, fully ready for jumps in a track. It's nitro, has a motor, there's the cooling head, gas tank. This just needs controller, just about, and gas and some spark, and it's ready to go. But this thing's worth about 300 bucks. So this pick is going to yield serious money. But this alone is just an amazing deal. As soon as he said he wanted to trade this thing, I was like all about it. And not only did he trade that, but he gave me a box full of wonderful parts, mostly rims and wheels. But this stuff, you can see, this stuff's in mint condition. And this right here is, you know, going to be put maybe on eBay one day. This is going to be 40 bucks for like 4 of these things. So, you know, I can't complain when I'm making money all over the place on stuff like this. Remote control picks are one of my favorite things to get my hands on because I know remote control stuff really well, but it doesn't take much to score really big on remote control. It's not like bicycles. If you kind of stick with the main brands from back in the day, things like Gold Pan RC10s, if you stick with Tamiya or Kyosho, you really can't go wrong. Because because people are looking for the tiniest parts and will pay top dollar just for like suspension things and linkages and wheels and tires and things that aren't produced anymore, but they just can't find it. So they're willing to pay top dollar all over the place for this stuff, locally and on the internet. So look for this stuff because they're at garage sales, they're at your pawn shops, they're at the weirdest places, and you just need to clean it up and make it look good. But even that, even if it was dirty, these people would be bidding all over this stuff, and locally you can sell all this stuff for stuff that you might want, or just plain old dirty cash. Anyway, so let's go over this pick real quick. What we got is, I just got my hands on an RC lot, and the lot cost me 130 bucks. I'm going to risk about 30 bucks, okay? My anticipated profit is somewhere between $300 and $500. Two of those F1 cars I showed you, I'm actually going to keep in my collection, so I'm not going to sell them. But regardless of me keeping those things or not, this anticipated profit on whatever's remaining, plus that orange 8-scale buggy that you saw, is going to be up $300 to $500 on a $30 risk investment. That's amazing. So that's going to be like 10 to 16 times the original investment that I'm going to risk, okay? So there was 4 Tamiya F1 cars. There was 1 Kyosho motorcycle. I couldn't show it to you because it's already packaged up. I got 1 Kyosho vintage buggy, which I showed you with a chain drive. There was an on-road vintage car, which is sitting in this box over here. Is that white one. And then I traded one of the F1 cars for this off-enough competition buggy, which is going to yield the most money out of all of it. So that's how you can take a simple $30 investment, turn it to $300, $500. No problems. None of this stuff has to work. People have all the stuff in their houses to make this stuff work. You just have to find it and advertise it correctly, and you will be swimming in gold. Alright, so if you like these videos, and hopefully there are bike videos coming up soon again, but I felt it was really important to show you guys what I'm kind of putting my hands into right now, and I should have all this stuff liquidated in about a week or two. So if you do like these videos, comment and give me a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you soon. Take it easy.